this week we are heading out to the California coast, and we are heading out to Redwood National Park. Now, Redwood National Park was formed as an official national park in 1968, and it was done so through the advocacy of the First Lady at the time, Lady Bird Johnson. And the reason that this national park came into being starts much, much further back in time. You see, the Redwood National Forest, if you've never been there, is filled with trees so tall they would make Lady Liberty in New York Harbor look small. Even she'd be looking up going, "Oh, that's some nice shade." These trees that have stood there for thousands of years are so large that the diameter of their trunks is 20 feet. That's 2 stories. They are so big that you can't even get your arms around them. And at one point, there was a redwood tree so tall and so large that you could drive through it. Have you ever thought about driving through a tree and having your car actually survive it? That's how big these beautiful trees are. And these beautiful trees out in California, when folks first started moving out there, they could not harvest these trees because they were too big. And so the redwood trees continued to stand majestic in their glory. But then, as most things, technology caught up. And soon, folks saw the benefit of taking down these trees. They were so large and so big, and they are beautiful hardwood, that folks would fell one of these trees simply for the amount of lumber they could get from it. And so the logging industry came in and they cut, and they cut, and they cut. And people started to see these large groves, these large forests of these redwoods slowly be reduced to nothing. And so back as early as the 1910s, there were conservation efforts going in order to create state parks to preserve these trees, to preserve these forests. And they were somewhat successful. But you have to remember that as much as people wanted to conserve them, the logging industry wanted to use them. And so by the time Lady Bird Johnson was able to eventually convince her husband to sign Redwood National Park into its national park status, only 5% of the original redwood forest still stood. Now, the redwoods are particularly unique because their root system is unique. Most trees, their roots will go down into the ground and only spread out a certain distance. But redwood trees have a very unique root system. Their roots don't spread so much far down, but they spread outward. And when you have a whole bunch of trees close to one another, those roots become intertwined with one another. It's this intertwining, this mutual bringing together of root systems that allows these redwoods to have the strength to withhold all that Mother Nature can throw at them. You know those storms where the rain comes down, the thunder happens, Mother Nature seems to leave the room, and then all of a sudden the storms come back in and Mother Nature's like, and another thing. No matter what was thrown at them, these redwoods could grow tall and last for thousands of years because of this integrated root system. They literally hold each other up. It's a beautiful imagery of community. And that's what we hear about in the letter to the Ephesians today. We hear how God recognizes every community, every nation here on earth, and how we are encouraged to have those deep roots, those roots that are connected with one another. how the communities are meant to support one another, and how when we do that, God is able to do even more than we could ask or could even imagine. Think about that. A God who does more than we could even ask or imagine. How he lifts up those communities that come together. And as you know, I was gone this past week, and I was engaged in building community with a very special group of individuals to me. This past week, I went down south. I got another state off my list of states to visit, and I visited Little Rock, Arkansas. And yes, it was hotter and more humid than it is here, so whew. But while I was there, I went to the National Training Seminar for the International Conference of Police Chaplains. Now, if you can imagine 450 police chaplains all running around a city, oh my goodness. But we were there. And while we were there, not only were we taking classes, I think I spent 30 hours last week in class, we were building and growing community. Because while there are police departments that do have several chaplains that are on the team together and who can call upon one another in tough times, there are many, many more who have one chaplain. And that one chaplain is often standing out there on their own. And doing that, they too need support. They too need somebody to call. And so in this time that we are together, we are building and we are growing community and relationship with one another. This past week, as I was sitting in the hotel restaurant, I sat down next to two other police chaplains, and one of them had on her pullover the symbol of the Massachusetts State Police. And of course, you know, being from Massachusetts, I had to go, oh, where are you guys located? And they start talking, and the gentleman that she's with starts telling me where he's serving. And I said, oh, well, I grew up in Worcester, Mass. And he goes, really? And I went, yeah. He says, oh, I grew up out in Leicester, which, for those who don't know the geography, is one of the next towns over. He keeps telling me about this, and he goes, oh, and I graduated from St. Peter Marian Catholic High School. You know what my face looked like? Why? That's the same small Catholic high school I graduated from. Who would have thought, with 450 police chaplains, you'd find a Lutheran and a Methodist who both graduated from the same small Catholic high school in New England? You never think it's going to happen. And then, later on, actually on Friday, we're all sitting at the gate because, of course, these same two chaplains are on the flight from Little Rock to Chicago with me. It's on their way to Boston. And another chaplain sits down. And he and I start talking, and he says, oh, I serve in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And I go, oh, really? Where do you serve in Fredericksburg, Virginia? And he goes, oh, I serve at Christ Lutheran Church. And I went, that's where I served my internship. All of these little connections that you don't expect, these little connections with places and people that seem completely outside of where you are now, started to show themselves. But even more so than those strange outward connections were the connections that were made during some of the hardest times this past week. I ended up, through turn of fate, in a class about the incidents, the war that started on October 7th, 2023 in Israel, and how chaplains can learn more about it, but also to support Jewish communities. And as I'm sitting in this class, they say, oh, hey, there's going to be some triggering stuff here. And I went, okay. Usually when they say it's going to be triggering, it means we're going to talk about things that might be uncomfortable. Boy, did I get a wake-up call to what triggering actually meant because they showed us video of what happened. And as I'm watching this video, all I can see are my husband's face, my child's face, because they look so much like the people there. And of course, the tears start coming, right? Because you start going, oh my gosh, this could be my family. And after I left the class, the tears just kept streaming down my face. And I'm walking down the hallway, and another chaplain that I had met in just another class saw me. And he stopped me and he said, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, I'm really not." And many of you know, I don't like to be hugged. It's just not something comfortable for me. But yet he wrapped me in this hug. And as I struggled to get out of it, he pulled me in tighter. And it's like my body relaxed. And all of a sudden, the tears just started flowing even more freely. I stopped doing the wiping of the, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. And I cried, and I cried. And it wasn't so much that anybody I knew had been hurt, but I could see my own family in it. And as I'm crying, this chaplain who I've met one time is praying for me. And I'm crying, and when I finally let go, his whole shirt was covered and wet. And I said, "Oh, I hope you have a dry shirt up in your room." He goes, "Well, actually, I commute." Oh. But in that moment, that deep-rooted community was built, and it withstood the test of something difficult. And so thinking about all of that, I want you to think about the communities in your life that are deeply rooted, that are interconnectedly rooted. I want you to think about where not only is your community rooted here at Bethlehem, but where your communities are rooted outside these walls. Where are those strange instances where your roots from those different communities interconnect? Where are those opportunities to support others in your life showing up? Where are you finding that God is working in ways that are greater than you could ever ask or imagine? Remember, those redwood trees stand the test of time and stand tall because of their interconnected roots. Those are what keep them going. So my question for you is, where are you finding similar support? What communities are keeping you upright, even when you think you can't keep going, even when the tears are flowing so much that you're soaking the shoulder of another person's shirt, and when you are the ones holding somebody close? Because it is in those moments that God is most certainly active, and it is in those moments that we find our support comes not only from God, but from one another.